Adam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's taken me a very long time to get you to agree to sit down and share your knowledge with everybody. And I know it's something that you do really freely. You're traveling around the world training pharmacists, doctors. I also get people's phone numbers when they come to us on social, because sometimes hair loss cases can be really complex and it does require like a bit of your expert advice.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining.
Yeah, that's fine. Great to be here.
I think for the first episode, it's probably a really good idea for us to just break down like what is normal hair loss, what's abnormal hair loss, and also the actual cause of hair loss. So I mentioned in the intro DHT. Can you break that down for everybody?
I think my wife does this better because I go all scientific, but dihydrotestosterone. So it's male or female pattern baldness. So we have byproduct testosterone in our body and it converts to dihydrotestosterone, which in simple terms, I've got to keep it simple so I don't bore the audience, it miniaturizes the follicle. So over a period of time, the hair will grow and grow thinner. Eventually it dies away. So the follicle's dead then. So that's just a quick 101 general about DHT.
And how long does it take for the follicle to kind of go through that process of shrinking down to actually dying?
It's like, again, general. Everyone's hair loss is so different. Like I've seen 35,000 people in consultations, like our consultations, and they'd sit in front of you and say, I've only been losing hair for a couple of years. And you're like, it's longer than that. Some people have fast hair loss. Some people have short hair loss, quick hair loss. So in some way, they're actually, they get better results when they start treatment because the follicle stays alive for about 1 to 3 years. Once an area goes shiny on your scalp, follicles are dead. There's nothing you can do there. You've got surgery, you've got other options, which we can talk about later. But if you're looking to keep your hair naturally with natural products or medication products, you need to have follicles still alive to be able for it to work.
And what are some of the early stages of hair loss? Like how can people identify that they're actually going through that process where the follicle is kind of getting smaller and the hair isn't growing as well?
Generally, when your back and sides hair is generally how your hair should be all over. And then if your hair's starting to look a little bit thinner to your back and sides, that's actually first stage of hair loss. And a lot of people associate hair loss to baldness, which is like too far gone. So what's the best thing we can do is educate the consumer that early stages prevention is a cure, right? So if you're noticing your hair's not as thick as it used to be, that's showing signs of hair loss. Different types of hair loss, but genetically 70-80% of men and women get hair loss genetically. Yeah, it's definitely early stages are the better for treatment.
If you do, actually, that brings us into one of the fallacies of hair loss.
Okay.
Is where do you inherit the hair loss gene from? Is it from the mum or is it from the dad? Because I've heard arguments for both.
I blame my pop, right? But both sides of the family, I had no hope. So no, it comes from either side of the family tree and can skip generations. Okay. So it's a fallacy that it comes from the mother's father. It can come from either side of the family tree.
If you have that genetic disposition to hair loss, is it definitely going to express itself, or is it something that you can actually stop from expressing?
Oh, 100%. This is what, Regrow is even about, get a hold of hair loss early or preventing hair loss before it even occurs. And my 3 sons are on our products and, they've got way better hair than me. They got beautiful hair. Because we're a lot more educated today. There's a lot of great products out there that are treating conditions very early. Yeah, you can prevent it, but once you do get hair loss, you need to be treating it. You can't sit there with procrastination and then eventually have the epiphany, hey, I want hair back. It may be too late. So the best thing I say to everyone is the minute you're noticing hair loss and it bothers you, do something about it.
Jumping back to DHT a little bit, we're talking about blocking DHT, obviously. Does DHT get produced on everybody's scalp? Is it just a normal thing, or does that only start being produced when you're having active hair loss?
That's when you're genetically affected by hair loss, so is DHT. So, and once it's on the scalp, basically DHT can lie in your sebaceous glands, your oil glands. So it's really important that you actually clean your hands and wash your hair. So a lot of fallacies out there is you shouldn't wash your hair, or if you wash your hair, you see hair fall out. Well, I'll tell everyone now, normally the whole world, 50 to 100 hairs is normal to lose a day. But you should always, when you've got especially hair loss from genetic hair loss and DHT is building up on the scalp, you need to have a good clean scalp so whatever products you're using can penetrate.
Yeah, that's something we hear a lot from customers who come through on email and over social is they found that when they were washing their hair, they were experiencing excess shedding. And so they just stopped washing their hair regularly and they were doing it once a week or once a fortnight. And then they'd freak out because it was so much hair coming out and they thought it was actually the hair loss getting worse. But What is actually happening there?
Well, I feel it's more about you actually starting to focus on your condition. So you'll start noticing the hair more, but really you're probably not losing any more. You can go through, and then this is why, like the general, a comment like, "Can I grow back my hair?" So loaded because there's so many things that can contribute to that. Like if you've had a stressful or traumatic incident in the family, a death in the family, or you've had, you've been really sick with influenza A or B, you can have telogen loss, and all of a sudden your hair sits in about a 10% stage, sits in telogen loss. You can lose a lot of hair really quickly, but it can grow back. And some people will notice that when they go through that massive shredding stage, they get quite concerned. But again, that's all about just getting onto products straight away and doing something about it, and it will rejuvenate. It takes about 3 to 6 months. I know I see a lot of things out there that show amazing results in 7 days. Impossible. Right. It takes 3 months to 6 months onwards to start noticing improvement. You generally will feel like things feel healthier. You'll see less fallout when you're on treatment, whether natural, medical, surgery, whatever. But it takes time for hair to grow. It takes time to lose hair, right? So it makes sense.
So when people are sort of saying, look, I started using this new product and like it's been 7 days and my hair is completely transformed, what are they actually seeing usually?
I don't know. Well, power of the mind's a great thing, eh? So I don't know. Maybe they're just noticing less fallout.
Okay.
And their hair looks, because they're, with our products, you don't have sulfates, parabens, MEAs, DAs, or silicons. So when you start using our range, then they might notice that the hair feels cleaner, less fallout. All those things can happen pretty quickly. But for results, I generally find most people, whether I've been treating people medically, surgically, or naturally, you're looking at about 3 months for new regrowth.
Okay, and is that just for that kind of fresh hair? Like, is that in the follicles that are maybe haven't been producing a hair for a little while? It takes about 3 months to reactivate it, or if it's 3 months to see hair growth?
If it's dormant, it's about but it's still alive. Like you got vellus hairs even there. A hair has to fall out for new hair to grow through, and it's got to get stronger and healthier each time because we want to get those blood amino acids back there and have that blockage around that's causing the DHT, and then the follicle gets to feed and be nutrients and happy again.
Right. Okay. Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I think that's something that it's like a real gap in understanding is the hair follicle to grow. It's not just like this automatic kind of mechanical process, is it? So for optimal hair follicle health, like for the hair shaft to be long and thick and strong and to go through the full growth stages and not have a shortened growth stage, what does it need?
It needs blood amino acids. It needs protein, right? So, and needs a feed. So, when we've got DHT, not only is our follicle shrinking, but our blood flow stops feeding that follicle. So we need to get circulation back there. So, laser lights help. Derma rollers. We have derma rollers. They micro prick the scalp and help the collagen, help the blood flow. So there's a lot of devices out there that help circulation. That's doing one part, which is important. The next part is also blocking what's causing it as well, so you can grow back naturally and healthy again with the nutrients feeding that follicle again.
Scalp massage, which you see a lot on social at the moment, as being one of the kind of like, if you're not scalp massaging, you'll never have great hair kind of, clickbait video tricks.
I hate those.
I know.
I reckon the whole consumer world must be getting sick of tired. Click here, 30 minutes later, I'll give you the cure to hair loss.
Yeah.
Please.
I think though with those ones is what it does is hair loss is so personal, and it really does leave people feeling very vulnerable. And like you would know that having done so many hair consultations, and I've really experienced that dealing with a lot of the consumer questions that come through. Is it takes a lot for people to actually take the first step and sort of say like, it's really bothering me. I feel very self-conscious. Yep. I'm trying all these different hairstyles and hats and,
and I can relate
to hide it. Totally. It's, I feel uncomfortable going out. It really does affect people's self-esteem, and that's something that you see. And I think when people are feeling like their self-esteem is really low, it's hard to take action as well. And then you're seeing all of these claims online and then you're trying these solutions, whether it be boiling rosemary water or doing the scalp massage or trying the rice water, because these are some things. And there is some validity to those techniques, but just those things alone obviously don't have a huge impact if you have sort of progressed or excessive hair loss. Is that right?
Yeah, so there's all different stages, but I can totally relate what you just said. I mean, I treated, young kids even at 13 were getting picked on at school, and it's quite sad, and they were getting upset in the consultation. And, 8 months later, confidence all over, you know, totally different. It's because it affects us because it's our appearance, right? And we're losing our appearance, and we're losing what we associate to being young and healthy and happy, right? The quickest you do something about these conditions, if it's affecting you, the better the results is going to be. You know, I do have people that get great results, but they were happy, they didn't care they were losing hair, but something happens in their life and then all of a sudden they go, you know what, I actually do want hair back now. But they've got to be realistic what they can expect back for that as well. Back to your question, yeah, it's all different types, but I think the reason why people get so affected, it's an appearance thing, right? So
I think also as well, one of the like sort of hair loss myth, it only affects people who are a little bit older, so like sort of 40 to like 60.
No.
It's like for the older demographic dealing with active hair loss. But you mentioned like, you know, teenage boy losing hair. Like, is there a demographic where it does affect people more, or is it really spread out?
Oh, it's spread out. Like I said, I've seen 35,000 people and every single one would have a different type of hair loss, like whether it's more aggressive in the crown, more frontal hair loss, total all over hair loss, alopecia, hair loss, you know, traction alopecia. There's so many different types, right? But I had a friend, and I'll just call him Eli because I don't think he will want, but he was totally bald and we're quite good friends, but he showed me photos of even at school, and you could see his regression of his hairline was so high back then, and he was only 15, and you could see that he was halfway being bald already. But his dad and his mother's side, I think, had very, very strong hair loss. So, you know, they were quite bald as well. So, and that's probably more of an aggressive state. A lot of I'd say general again, a lot of people, especially men in the age of, you know, 20 to 40, will start noticing hair loss, right? Mm-hmm. Women over the age of 30 to 40, generally after children or postpartum hair loss, they'll start noticing hair loss if they've got the hair loss gene too, and anything traumatic, stressful, obviously can bring it on earlier, would probably be a little bit early there. Whether you can grow your hair longer. I do have the question sometimes, like, can I grow... I've never been able to grow long hair. You might have fine hair. You may not be able to ever have long hair. Like some people have a longer anagen stage, which allows them to grow long hair. So every hair type's quite different. I couldn't probably put everyone in because I've seen so many different types of hair loss and different age groups.
I think that's, I think like I definitely know that I want to go through like the stages of growth in a future episode, because I think it's really important that for people to understand that you may genetically only be able to grow hair to a certain length, like growing waist length or, you know, down to, you know, hips. It may not be genetically possible for you, because I do see a lot of videos on social saying like, I couldn't grow my hair past my shoulders until I started doing this, and now I can grow my hair to my hips. But as you know, that's...
You've got your follicle you're born with, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd love to have dark, you know, quite dark hair, black hair, but I'm genetically not prone to have. I've got grey hair, but I blame my 3 teenage boys for that. But early onset of grey hair. I can grow back hair, but I can't change the colour. You know, we all want some things that we may not be able to aspire to.
Just to sort of finish off this one, and then we're going to go through and answer some quickfire Q&A questions. So these are questions that have come through from customers.
You didn't tell me this one.
We're going to do that for the end of each episode, because I think some of them are actually, like some of them are questions they probably would never ask in person, because they're makes them feel a bit kind of shy. But
I'll do my best.
Yeah, some funny ones. But before we close into that, I would really like you to sort of go a little bit, because we're not, this podcast is not about selling Regrow, but I would like you just to expand a little bit on your background, why you started Regrow, and why you specifically created a product that does block DHT, because I think that will just give everyone a bit of a better understanding of your experience and why you have created this product and what the goal is with the hair loss education.
I started my hair loss journey when I was 20, so only a year ago. So no, I was losing hair. Had I known what I know now today and trained as a hair expert, I probably would have attacked that a lot earlier, my condition. And then I went to a medical hair clinic company, and then after the treatment I ended up working for them, had an amazing career. I worked 12 years. I was the international consultant for them, and that's when I saw 30,000 plus men and women in for treatment. That was the medical side of things, and so we were treating people medically, some naturally, but surgery as well. We didn't do a lot of hair units at that stage, but I always had that burning desire that medication is fantastic, but it had side effects, right? Some people get side effects with medication. I wanted to produce something out there that the purity in natural actives was really coming strong. And a lot of my customers were saying, Adam, I got results, but I don't want to be on medication for the rest of my life. And probably that was that burning little desire to go, right, let's develop some of the best natural products out there with some of the best protein rebuilders that I know of. They're showing great results, and the consumer's telling me they don't want to be on medication if they can for the rest of their life. Some people can be on medication all their life and no issue. And I always say to them, if they're getting great results with medication, great, but you can also instill natural as well. Get that holistic approach, get a best of both worlds. If you don't want to be on medication, try natural first, and if it's not strong enough, go on to medication. A lot of people out there hate that. They turn around and they go, don't be on finasteride, don't be on minoxidil, don't. What expertise do you have? Like, well, tell me why you're telling this. Like, don't tell me your product's going to do anything better, because it might be some people's hair loss, which we've been discussing, is more advanced, so they need more help and more treatment. That's one thing that we do, I think, at Regrow really well. We're brutally honest. I've been there, done that. We've got a lot of the clout in the industry, but I'm there to help people on multiple levels and different on where their journey is with their hair loss as well. Yeah.
Talk me through some of the ingredients, because we sort of touched a little bit of some of the natural remedies that you see on social and through some creators where they're talking about rosemary oil, rosemary water, rice water, things like that. Talk me through some of the ingredients we actually have in Regrow, because there is some validity to those ingredients, but it's more of like the part that they play in the bigger picture. So I know in Regrow, for instance, we have natural DHT blockers, but there's also proteins and stimulants and things like that. Can you run us just a little bit through what's needed and the kinds of botanical ingredients that action those needs, I suppose?
The two main ones is caffeine and saw palmetto are DHT blockers, but we use at a high purity. So we have one of the highest purity out with our scientists. We don't white label, we develop all our products. They're really proven to help DHT blocking naturally. We've also got 98% pure biotin niacinamide that we use as protein rebuilders. Rosemary, we've got rosemary in our shampoo, as you know, Krystal, but rosemary is a good calming agent, especially if you've got inflamed scalp. A lot of people with hair loss, we can talk so many different topics, but a lot of people, when they got hair loss or hair thinning, they get a scalp or skin issue as well. It sort of goes hand in hand. So it's good having those properties in there that actually calm the scalp as well. We've got menthol in our tonic, chili extract for the blood flow. There's so many actives that we're using that are just absolutely amazing for the scalp. Will it be strong enough? Depending on the person and their journey and where they are. But this is where I really want to try and get that education out there. Early stages, naturally is going to work really well for you. Late stages, you might have to introduce medication and natural, and then late stages, surgery is your only option if it's follically dead. Yeah, so our ingredients, we also use oxygenated rainwater, so we don't have demineralized tap water like most other brands. Mm-hmm. So why we do that is so we hydrate the hair and hydrate the scalp as well. Generally, a lot of our customers, you'll know, Chris, when they write to you, that they say how that even within the first couple of weeks, they feel like their hair loss is slowing up, but they notice that their scalp's feeling healthier and cleaner, and that's important. So the products can work and penetrate better.
Does wearing hats or using hair products contribute to hair loss?
If you have a hat and it's really tight on the scalp, it could be reducing blood circulation to that area. So generally, again, it's genetic or it's other issues like alopecia, autoimmune deficiencies and so forth. But if you wear a hat and it's really tight and they're wearing a hat every day and they're not letting it breathe and all that, you can notice a bit of thinness or pulling or traction alopecia on that area. Mm-hmm. What was the next one? That was hat.
Hair products, so
hair
things
products.
Like styling products.
Look, if you're washing them out, I don't see how styling products. I mean, it'd have to go down to what chemicals are in that styling product. Mm-hmm. If it's causing any inflammation on the scalp, that's again suffocating the follicle. As long as you're washing out your styling products, and you shouldn't be losing hair from it. No,
okay,
not in my experience anyway.
Are there any lifestyle factors that can contribute to hair loss?
Poor diet, drug abuse, stress, all that can definitely accelerate hair loss. It doesn't, sometimes it's not the natural cause of it, but it won't help if you've got a hair loss. It will accelerate that hair loss. So, and it's sort of that's where we go to that one, like not only do you noticing hair loss, but then you start stressing about it and it gets worse. So you just got to calm yourself and go, okay, I'm actually doing something about it. I'm going to be calm with it because stress is not a good thing for the hair loss. It can, it can definitely increase the DHT or poor blood flow to the scalp. Yeah, so, drug abuse, I'd say like a bodybuilder, let's say they were injecting themselves with steroids. Well, one of the byproducts we know is testosterone touches an enzyme, becomes dihydrotestosterone. So if they're accelerating their testosterone, then they potentially could be making their hair loss even worse and lose a lot of hair quick. But if they didn't have the gene and they were taking the increase of testosterone, it it wouldn't cause the hair loss. They would have to have the gene. But there's attributes that if we're not healthy with ourselves, like poor gut health, definitely can contribute to losing hair. Yeah.
This is probably one of the most common questions we get asked on social, which I do. So obviously, like, our products are about clearing DHT and sort of like helping stimulate hair growth. We often get asked if our products will make hair grow in other places where people are trying to actively have no hair growing.
No, straight away no, because you're not actively putting the product to that. When I was treating with the GPs, people on minoxidil, women did have to be careful because they were topically applying the minoxidil to their scalp, but they might have vellus hairs around their side, near their ears, and along here. They could thicken that up because it was getting into the bloodstream there, right? So, but you generally didn't get all over body hair because you'd have to put it to that area like frequently. Yeah. So with our products, no, it doesn't do that.
Okay, great. All right. I think that's enough hair education for one episode. So thanks, Adam.
I hope I didn't bore everyone.
No, it was good. But yeah, we're definitely going to tackle some more topics in future episodes. And I think we'll go really deep into maybe a female and male genetic hair loss, temporary hair loss, such as like postpartum hair loss, stress-related, virus-related, and then maybe an episode on alopecia as well, because I know that that's something that people feel really hopeless when they're experiencing.
Yeah,
but I know from talking to you, there is some things that can help.
And also surgery, I can give some good advice there. I've recommended a lot of surgery for people that have been advanced, but what to look out for. And, there's a lot of people talking about different countries they're flying to for surgery. So we can touch on that as well.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.